Hi, and welcome to another reading by me, Leenna. So today we have another request. There was a big request from Zuri Cassia 15 who asked about their higher self, and I've addressed that in another video which should be uploaded or is uploaded. And then they also asked about late bloomers in terms of spirituality or getting onto their spiritual path, and career as well. So we're going to be looking at the spiritual path. If you feel you're a late bloomer in getting onto your spiritual path, then this is for you. So the way we're going to choose is we've got three options. We've got temperance. So I want you to look at the pictures, okay? So ignore the card name and just go according to the picture. If this is what you normally do, if this is what your life looks like, or what you want your life to look like, so it kind of resonates with you, then that is the pile for you. So that was one. So two, we've got the nightclubber or socialite, or someone who just likes to go out a lot. And then we also have the world, someone who's maybe more on the internet or work, working a lot. So let's start with option number one. So let's see what messages we have about late bloomers, if there's any advice for you. If you like going out to a wine club or out to the coffee shop very often, then let's see what we've got. So we've got the 7 of Wands on the flip side, the 8 of Pentacles also on the flip side, Ace of Water, Page of Air, 4 of Airships, or the 4 of Swords, and Judgment, or the regeneration machine. So I think it's okay that you shouldn't feel that you've been left behind in terms of getting onto your spiritual path or your spiritual journey, because you've been busy. You've been really, really busy. And life was difficult for you. You had a lot to overcome. You had a lot of people to prove wrong. And now that you've done it, you're kind of at the point where you feel that there's something more for you, and that's good. You're going to find that creativity is going to help increase your spirituality. For some of you, you may love science fiction or fantasies, stories and novels, and that's good because it's going to sort of trigger philosophical ideas in your head, and that's going to help you explore your spirituality, maybe in a way that is less structured but probably more interesting for you, and probably in a way that's going to sort of accelerate your path, because you're getting introduced to so many ideas in such a sort of a melting pot way that you can very easily feel what resonates for you and what doesn't, and that is great. Then you got the 4 of Airships here, so you do need rest, and perhaps this is the time in your life where you are able to take a rest. Perhaps you're in between jobs, or you're changing your lifestyle drastically, and that's okay, because this quiet time is allowing you to reflect back on the past and to see the new phases that are available to you, the new options, and you can make very good judgments, as well as make the most of your new beginning where you are. So as a late bloomer, there's no right and wrong way to get onto your spiritual path, but the way that probably will most appeal to you is by reading science fiction, reading fantasy, exploring the ideas of scientists as well as philosophers. I'm very interested in Johannes Kepler at the moment, and he was an astronomer, a physicist, and also a writer, and the way he came to my attention, I didn't learn about him at school, but the way he came to my attention was via Cosmic Roots and Eldritch Shores, which is a science fiction and fantasy magazine that I do some volunteer work for, and there's currently a contest on. So what it made me realize is that there's so much more to him than just science. And I think it's finding people like that, reading about people like that, or watching videos about them and trying to, you know, just learning more about them, researching them. It's going to give you lots of ideas, give you lots of questions that you're going to find resonate with you and will help you on your spiritual path. And I think that your judgment is very good. I think that you're very good at finding sources that resonate with you, and that you're going to get a lot of joy and inspiration from it. And the card that you chose was Temperance, which is balance. And I think you're very happy at the moment to sort of be the lone wolf, because she is the one that stands out to me, the one that's sort of, you know, even before we open the cards, she's looking at the menu, she's making up her own mind. She's fine by herself. She doesn't need to fit into any group. And she's confident. It's funny. It actually says non-alcoholic, and what stood out for me was non. And I know very little French, but I know that means no. You're very good at rejecting ideas which aren't aligned with your spiritual path. So I think you should just keep trusting yourself and following the ideas, the parts that make sense to you, that interest you, that fascinates you, and that you don't need to follow anyone's idea of what a spiritual path looks like, or what spirituality should be, or what rituals you should follow, if you should follow any rituals at all. Because you are an individual, and what you learn is what you need to learn, and that is all there is to it. So, you know, keep being yourself, keep keeping your ideas open and free flowing, and, you know, whichever rabbit hole you want to jump down into that feels good for you, keep going, because that way you're going to be learning so much more so very quickly. You know, and you're going to have that balance as well. So you don't need to join a group. You don't need to be with other people. You have your own very interesting, intriguing spiritual path. So that was if you chose Temperance, the one with the standalone person. Okay, so that was option number 1. So let's go on to option number 2. We'll go on to the one that says Judgment. So if you chose this, let's see what we can tell you if you feel you're a late bloomer on your spiritual path. So we've got the 2 of Air, the Awakening, that is the Hanged Man reversed. We've got the Technomancer, which is the Magician. We've got the 6 of Leviathans. Actually, let me bring this down here. We've got the 7 of Cups and the King of Swords. So you just recently made a decision to change your perspective. You may have decided to change your religion or your whole outlook on life. You got a new sort of a wake-up call in a way, and or you just decided that you needed a new perspective, a new way of looking at life, and you're looking at the options, and you're very logical, so something needs to make sense to you. It doesn't have to be numbers and diagrams, but it needs to follow a logical structure. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to put your faith in it or put your belief in it. But what's really interesting is that you have the Technomancer here, which is the Magician card, which is the card of manifestation and the card of being able to come up with ideas and influence people as well. And that's something you can do, but it has to make sense to you. And the 6 of Leviathans, or the 6 of Pentacles, is about giving and taking. It's about I always want to say the word, I can never pronounce it, being, you know, in a reciprocal relationship with people. So you love to debate, but it has to make, like I said, sense to you, and I think this is what shuts down a lot of the communication that you're trying to open up, because in a way you like to win an argument. And you have to understand that when you're on your spiritual path, it's very often that you won't find a right and wrong. You won't find a definite answer. It doesn't mean it won't be logical to you, but there's going to be so many different threads to each thing that you're looking at that it's very difficult to tie them up into a neat little package. So it's not that you're closed to new ideas. It's just that when you start discussing them with people, they find you too forceful and too domineering in the conversation. So it doesn't feel like a reciprocal, it doesn't feel like a give and take. It feels like you being either dogmatic or trying to dictate to them what they think, what they should feel, what they should believe. And that, like I said, shuts down the conversation. And you love the conversation, but you're basically having a conversation with yourself. So this is the thing. So you do have other options. And with the magician there, I feel you're going to meet a mentor, someone who is going to kind of blast your opinions away. Okay. And it's not that they're going to do that in a sort of a one-upmanship kind of way. They're probably going to do it in a very loving way. And you're probably going to have as much of an impact on them as they do on you. But it's something that that is going to allow you to see that not everything, like I say, can be neatly bundled up and packaged and shipped around as the answer to what you're looking for. The other thing is this technomancer here kind of reminds me a lot about the internet, and I feel that this person is going to be someone that you meet either on Reddit or something like that. You know, it's on a community thing. It's not necessarily based on a spiritual thing. In fact, I think it's based either in IT or engineering, one of those kind of threads, and that's going to kind of trigger you. And it could even be that you're not even friends, but you trigger each other in a way that kind of allows you to see that the truth can have many facets to it, or the truth that you're looking for has many facets to it. So in a nutshell for you, it's saying that it's great that you're changing your perspective. It is opening you up to a new way of looking at the world, but you've got lots of different ideas, lots of different ways that you can communicate, and that you need to be aware of the way you're communicating as well, and the way people are receiving what you're trying to say, because that's what they're giving back to you as well, or they're retreating from you because they feel that you're this smug guy or smug girl that has all the answers and is not really open to discussion. So you need to allow yourself to see that it's not always a linear line. It's not always, there's a lot going on here. It's not always something that's going to be calm. But once you get through what seems like a very chaotic set of ideas, or even contrasting or contrary ideas, that you're going to reach a space where it's very sort of sublime and easygoing, and there's going to be an equal amount of give and take, a sense of calmness. That's going to be very much probably what you're looking for. So I hope that made sense to you if you chose Judgment, and if you feel that you're a late bloomer on your spiritual path. So thank you for watching, and let's go on to option number 3, which is if you chose the world, if you're often on your computer, or if you've been giving your whole life to your career. What do we have for you? So we have the Chariot, the 7 of Air, the 8 of Cups, the Chariot again, very interesting, And then we have the Four of Submersibles, or the Four of Cups, and the Messenger of Leviathans. It's very interesting. Almost everyone has got air and earth in some respect, or air and fire. So if you feel you're a late bloomer on your spiritual path, or just starting off on your spiritual path, you're going to move very fast. You're going to find that you have been questioning your sense of identity, or you feel that you might have been stuck on a merry-go-round in some way, and you realize there's more to life than that. I'm thinking of the Bjork song, There's More to Life Than This. It's probably what you listen to a lot. You may have decided to give up your career or start a new one and to travel. It's interesting you picked the World card, because for me that also means immigration and travel. Maybe you're working remotely, but you're looking for something. You are the kind of person that is searching for something by trying to get to Sedona, trying to get to all the temples, trying to find something that you can connect to and resonate with. And there's nothing wrong with that, except quite often you come away feeling there was nothing there, and you're beginning to wonder. You might have been doing this for 8 weeks or 8 months already, and you might start to feel that you got it wrong. And it's not that you got it wrong, it's just that sometimes it takes time, sometimes it takes standing still in one point for a little longer than you thought you would need to. For example, one of the places that I felt most connected to in terms of spirituality was a place in China called Yulin in Shanxi province, which is not far from Xi'an, and it's even closer to the Inner Mongolian border. And it's a very old place. And what I was looking for at that time was a sense of history that was deeper from the country that I came in, and that extended many thousands of years. And Yulin, even though it's not well known, was on the Great Wall, and it's got thousands and thousands of years of history, and it's got a multitude of different cultures that have gone through it, or phases, but it's still got a very strong identity. And I think you're looking for something like that. And I'm not telling you to go to Yulin. What I'm trying to tell you is that I didn't realize it for the longest time. I was teaching there, so it probably took me the first year of being there to realize and understand what I was seeing and what I was experiencing. Sorry, I got a little bit emotional there. And I think you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. You know, it's if you find a place you like, there's no reason why you shouldn't stay there for 2 weeks longer or 2 months longer. Or if you do happen to get a job there, you know, you can stay there for as long as you need to realize what you need to. Because I feel, this means so much to you. You are a sort of a go-getter. You are a goal achiever. You set your goals and you've always achieved your goals within that time. And similar to number 2, you have to understand that being on your spiritual path is sometimes a little bit messy. It doesn't follow deadlines. It doesn't even follow events. It sometimes follows divine timing, but more often it follows your lessons. And some of your lessons can take a long time to learn, and others can take a very short time. And it also depends on the people that you meet. And I think it's great that you're going from place to place, trying to connect to the earth or trying to connect to the energies. But you're missing connecting with the people. And sometimes people have the answers. And sometimes the most unlikely people have the answers. So, you know, you get that right, and you're going to start getting into this. You're going to start moving from the Four of Cups which is having stuff around you but not being able to see it or connect to it. And getting into the message of Leviathans, which is the page of Pentacles, where you understand what is going on, where you see what is behind the scenes, where you dig a little bit deeper and you start to understand what you're doing and how you connect to it. And I think that is a big part of your spiritual path. And I love that you're traveling, but you're not going to find the answers by doing 32 days of 32 places. You have to stand still for a little bit here and there to really sort of soak up the for you to get the message. Okay, so I hope that made sense to you. I thought that was very, very interesting if you chose the world. And happy, safe travels to you. And may you find what you're looking for very quickly. Because the last thing you want to do is to keep going around that merry-go-round, around and around, you know. You got to start moving forward by standing a little bit still. So I hope that made sense to you. And thank you so much for watching. And if you liked and subscribed, or if you're leaving a comment, thank you so much as well. I really appreciate it. And I do appreciate your requests as well. So thank you once again, Zuri Cassia 15. I think it's a really great kind of a process you've got moving for all of us. So thank you for that. And you take care. Keep those vibes high. Bye.